Get us rolling. Again, welcome to the November edition of our Manufacturers Council. Welcome to those who are going to be watching this recording afterwards, to all our manufacturers, not just the Manufacturers Council, but for all manufacturers in our chamber membership. We wanted to share this information with you. We're very happy to have both Heidi Jones, Executive Director with Marion Matters, and Natalie Longmeier. She is the ERN Employer Resource Network coach. Is that the right word? Or we'll use that. But they're both here to talk to us today about the Employer Resource Network, ERN, which has been in this community for a little while now, and I think is moving into its second phase. And some really great numbers that have come out of that that they're going to share with you, and kind of how that's working and how that can kind of supplement your existing programming or create some ways to help your employers that maybe you didn't have before. So with that, I think I'll hand it off directly, I believe, to Heidi Jones with more on the ERN.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having us, Matt, and we appreciate everyone's time today. We're excited to share some of the new things that are going on with the ERN. So if you're not familiar, an ERN stands for Employer Resource Network. And what we do is we support incumbent workers, and in turn that helps support your business. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we're doing here in Marion. Our current ERN is we are in our 4th year, so we'll complete that at the end of this year, and we'll start year 5. And with that, we'll be looking for 5 new businesses to start our second network. So we're super excited about that. So let's see, I can't advance my screen. Let's see here. There it goes, I think, right? All right.
We haven't, I think you still need to share your screen. We're not seeing it yet.
It's not sharing? Okay, it said it was sharing. Let's go back. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
We can go back and get it to share. Possibly. Now it should go. Let's see. Okay. Are you seeing it now?
Yep, it's up.
Great. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. It looked like it was. Now if we can get it to advance, let's see here. I guess we hopped on to try that and we didn't even go through that, did we, Matt? That was my whole reason for getting on a couple minutes early. Okay, so now you're able to see the screen, correct?
Yep.
Good. So we were fortunate enough in 2016, we learned about ERNs, and they were growing. Ohio did not have an employer resource network. And so around that time, there was an opportunity at the state level to apply for a grant called a Healthier Buckeye Grant. And it was to really support sort of bridges out of poverty type of work, which Marion Matters has been doing now for 10 years. And so we were excited. Obviously, the model is working. So if you see at this slide here, ERN USA, which is sort of the overarching model that we're under, and then we are a state-run ERN here at Marion Matters. And so I'll talk a little bit about that as we move on. But ERNs are across the United States, 175 employers in 12 different states, and they do include manufacturing, healthcare, hospitality, education, and social services. 80,000 employees have access to a success coach on site to provide assistance with any work or home challenges, or if they need some training. So we are exploring, ERNs are growing. Other states are exploring those as well, and you can see that information on the screen there. So basically what an ERN does, it really takes a look, as I said, at that incumbent worker. And so here are some work-life challenges maybe that employees have either come to you to talk about. Maybe they've requested a loan from their 401k or even an advance in their pay through their employer. Showed need for basic life skills and training in areas such as maybe English as a second language. Maybe they need some financial counseling or some computer training. They've been later absent from work because of issues at home, such as transportation and childcare. And there are other things as well that they could be dealing with at home, or those barriers that we say that could cause them from either having absenteeism or also experiencing low productivity while they are at work because they are worrying about things at home. Maybe they've had some disciplinary issues when their work has generally been good. So maybe there are some things sort of pulling them away from the work site when they're there. Maybe they've quit a job due to an increase in their wages and a loss of public benefits, or leave another job just due to workplace culture. So those are some things that ERN can address. So this screen that you're seeing here, this is just an example of the gaps that maybe people are dealing with. So lots of families, they're unable to make ends meet as they try to move off from assistance and towards economic independence. So benefits help buffer development. When family income increases, sometimes benefits are reduced or cut off at a higher rate than their wage is able to make up. So what you're seeing here is sort of what we call the benefits cliff. So when we do the math, full-time wages plus family supports equal total resources. But if you've got total resources minus some basic living expenses, we do see maybe a monthly gap. So you'll see that explained here. This slide is a little bit older, and we're looking for maybe an updated one because this is when minimum wage was about $7.25, and we know that that's increased. But this gives you sort of an idea. So when people are dealing with that gap, oftentimes we see that play out in the workplace by having, like I was explaining before, those absences, or I'm there physically, but mentally I'm sort of worrying about some of those things at home and how I'm going to make ends meet or provide a meal that day and things like that. So this gap does a lot of times cause some problems in the workplace. So not having needs met, what is the cost? And this is for you at or as the employer. SHRM has calculated the cost of turnover for a $10 an hour job at $4,125. So this would be the cost for the company. 34% of families worry about being able to pay their mortgage, rent, or basic bills. A disengaged employee is 28% less productive than an engaged employee. A distracted employee is 27% more likely to have a workplace accident. So what is the cost of overtime due to the lack of talent? So those are some things to consider. So when you're looking at ERN, what we have the opportunity to offer is a low-cost shared resource. And so here's a little bit more about the network. It's demand-driven. It's a private-public nonprofit partnership. And ERNs consist of 5 to 10 employers in close geographic proximity, so Marion area. Common needs are retention, training, and advancement. A success coach is embedded in your HR process. We don't duplicate, we leverage nonprofit public resources. Businesses invest in a share up front based on the size. And then these are some statistics from 2017, 2018. The Marion area ERN averaged 14.8% utilization. So in the businesses that we were in, that average across the network, employees utilized it at 14.8%. We had a 98.6% retention rate and a 432% return on investment for those employers. All ERNs using this trademark follow the same employer-led model with customized matrix tracking in Salesforce. And we'll see a little bit of a Salesforce report as well. That's sort of what tells us that the model's working and that we're getting results within each of the businesses. So these are some other things, some benefits with the Employer Resource Network. You'll see a list of things for employees and some things for employers. So with employees, stress reduction, childcare assistance, financial pressures, aging parents, we can help with that, substance abuse, transportation, and the list sort of goes on. The benefit for the employer, which ultimately that's who we're there to help, increase those retention numbers and also increase productivity. So the employer would have hidden roles and culture would be better understood. The HR workload would be decreased. Reduced absenteeism, increased morale, increased productivity, increased retention. You'll see all of those things there, and you become an employer of choice. And I think that's important to consider as well with the workforce here. I know oftentimes we share employees, if you will. They may leave one of our places to go work for another, and of choice. You've got a little health insurance and 401k. So you'll notice increased profits as well. And stability is very good within our businesses. So what I will do is have our success coach, Natalie Longmeier. She will hop on and talk to us a little bit about what her role is within the business. And then she'll talk a little bit more about some of the trending issues that she sees across the board. So Natalie, if you would, hop on and share with us about your role in the businesses.
Yes, thanks, Heidi. Welcome. My name is Natalie Longmeier, and I'm the success coach and also student resource navigator, because I do serve students and staff and faculty at Marion Technical College. We're currently in 6 businesses in the Marion area. And just to kind of hit on some of these bullet points here, being part of the network means that you have designated hours depending on the amount of shares that you purchase of the network. And so at some of my businesses, I'm there 3 to 6 hours. Marion Technical College has 2 shares of my time, so I'm here 12 hours a week. So a full share is 6 hours, and that is time face-to-face with the employees and the employer, helping them. However, employees and students have access to meet 40 hours a week. So even if I'm designated at a business on a Tuesday, if somebody is in need and they call me a Thursday at 3 o'clock, I'm going to answer that phone call and help them with whatever they need. So that is a huge asset to the program and the network as well. I am constantly receiving kind of emails, texts, phone calls. People reach out to me in various ways, looking constantly, and not only as serving the employees face to face, but then I'm reaching out to organizations and community agencies all across, not only just Marion County, but surrounding counties, because you may have employees that maybe work in Morrow, Crawford, Wyandotte County, maybe Hardin County. And so I'm connecting with those counties as well to find out what resources they have. Right now, because of COVID and all the things going on with the pandemic, I really try to stay on top of the funding streams that are coming down. I know the Chamber is great at pushing out that information. We also have Community Action and some in Job and Family Services that have access to funding that can help your employees. And so that is kind of my job, to make sure that I am trying to stay as much on top of those things as possible, and then able to maybe create a flyer, send that information out to employees as well, in case they are eligible or they need some of those services that really do not get to the employees often. People who do utilize public assistance, they may be a little more in the know because they may be on an email or a text thread or something with the agencies they've worked with prior. But however, employees that have not used public assistance but actually may qualify but they don't realize it would not receive this information. So that is another huge asset to having a success coach on board to be able to provide those updates. I also really am a conduit to social services, and that's what I really explain to employers, employees. So there's a list of kind of things that I can help with, and I say that's just a very short list of the things that I truly can connect to. I'm not necessarily providing services individually for people, but I'm connecting them to resources, and I'm extremely passionate about making sure that the referrals and the phone numbers and the people that I send to the agencies, that is a direct connection to them. One of the things that I am trying to do and succeeding at is making kind of direct connection pipelines, if you may, to these agencies. For example, we had a student who actually was in Delaware County at Marion Tech, and she had some legal issues with her unemployment. She didn't understand what was going on. She had been served court papers, And this individual made more. They were not eligible for legal aid services because their income was above the eligibility guidelines. However, I was able to connect with somebody at legal aid, and the student was able to reach out to the person directly and ask their question. And so even though they could not take on her court case, she was able to get some information on how to navigate the situation. And she was extremely appreciative of that because she was very stressed about that particular issue. So there's so many ways that we can really connect people to getting questions answered, help navigating sometimes just life and circumstances, anywhere from childcare to elder care to transportation to some of the systems at Job and Family Services. That's another kind of perk of the network as we continue to collaborate with Job and Family Services and the Chamber. And so those are relationships that I'm consistently building continuously every day. And so just kind of looking over here to make sure I did not miss anything. As far as the Success Coach role goes, you know, businesses can utilize this program however really they see fit to help retaining their employees. I recently am not allowed. Kingston of Marion is a retirement community, and I'm not able to be in their businesses right now because of the number of cases and the safety precautions from the CDC. So one of the things that they have employed me to do is find some benefits for the healthcare workers. So I reached out to a local business, Brave Women Boutique, and she's offering a discount for their employees. And so I'm creating a flyer, and they are able to go and receive that discount for an appreciation for their services. So it really does extend past just a few bullet points of the things that I can help with. One of the ways really truly to help retention in your businesses is if you bring a success coach in, say that they're making phone calls after orientation, following up with new employees at the 30, 60, 90-day mark, depending on when that is. Make sure they're doing well, make sure they have transportation, that nothing in their life is on fire to where they're not going to be able to make it in during that probation period. So those are some of the ways. Silverline is one of our member businesses as well. I go in at orientation and I introduce myself. I've created a video for orientation. So there's so many different ways to utilize the Success Coach. And it's really unique to each business depending on their needs. And that's kind of the great flexibility that we have with this particular program. Heidi, was there anything else provides monthly? Heidi's going to show you the dashboard report, so I know as well. And being connected to the ERN USA, we have success coaches all over the country who are doing this type of work. And so we do have a support system on how to continue to be innovative through this time, especially through the pandemic. ERN USA has provided us some materials, and that has been extremely helpful to continue to serve employees and students in our area.
Great. So just a couple of things to add, that the Success Coach is a confidential resource. So the Success Coach is there on behalf of the employer, right, to help increase retention and productivity. So the way that we do that is really get to those pain points that you have. So if we know that, you know, attendance is something that you're struggling with, we will work next to you to figure out what's the best way to attack that pain point. And so Natalie is very great at connecting with people in the community as well to find out if someone else has had some luck with something, if we're able to help with that. So the cool part is a lot of times maybe employees won't come to HR with some of those issues for fear of, gosh, if they know this about me, I might lose my job. The great thing about the Success Coach is she is a confidential resource. They can come and speak with her to work on those things that they might not be able to share with HR. The other thing is, if someone comes to Natalie with an instance that would either cause harm to themselves or other employees, those things would obviously be shared. But other than that, a confidential resource, which really allows people to sort of open up and not have fear, knowing that Natalie will be able to sort of help them through that. So one way that we support you is by having an advisory council sort of meet monthly just to talk about some of the things that are trending, some of those patterns that we're seeing within the businesses. And so a representative from each of the business gets together along with some of our community partners, and we get together once a month just to really talk about what's going on. We may hear from an expert in maybe transportation one month. We've had a childcare expert come and talk to us about what they're seeing as well and what sort of solutions are coming up in the foreseeable future. So that's a really cool benefit as well. And through that, we've been able to really do some concentrated trainings within the network. And again, we're sort of sharing that expense because businesses are pulling together to do that jointly. So that's really cool as well. So one of the things, we just talked about that advisory council, so I'll skip that slide. This is the dashboard that gets presented each month, and this is an older one, but because I'm not tech savvy, I couldn't figure out how to trade that out. So I left this one in here just so we'd be able to see it. So each month at those advisory meetings, you're going to get a copy of this report, which really talks about how many services were delivered each month, where those resources or referrals came from, retention numbers, and also utilization is in that that final category there. It also breaks down sort of services by category, so we know what types of things people are requesting, what are some of the issues that are happening within those businesses. We also have success stories on here as well so that you can see those. And the other cool part is that it will break it down by business. So oftentimes maybe there's something going on within one of the businesses and they say, gosh, now that we know this is happening, maybe there are some ways that we can address that on site. And so you can see what sort of those specific requests are within your business as well. And so Natalie did briefly talk about the student resource navigation at Marion Technical College. We are the first ERN in the United States to be offering this sort of resource at a campus, at a college campus, working with students. Just as in our businesses, we want to increase retention and productivity, we want to do that at the college campus as well. And oftentimes at Marion Tech, we are working with non-traditional students that often are juggling work and parenting and school at the same time. And so sometimes resources are not there. So Natalie is able to really help the students get connected to those resources so that they're able to stay on campus, finish their coursework, and obviously graduate. And we want them to graduate as quickly as they can through their programs. So we have had so much success with that here on site that they have bumped up to another share. So as Natalie was talking about, 12 hours a week on campus. So there are 2 full shares that they've purchased for her to spend working on site. And so this network that I just showed here in the dashboard, we're actually full, which means our one success coach is at their capacity. So what we're doing is, we're looking towards the future. We want to start that second network, and we have began a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce as well as Job and Family Services to really start offering some add-on services. So other things that are no added cost to you as an employer. We can offer some financial literacy classes. We can offer, Marion Matters offers community classes where we've been able to get curriculum that would be geared towards an incumbent worker, someone who's already working. And so those are things that will be available at no additional cost when you join the network. And then just recently, through our partnership with the Chamber and JFS, we are offering a 10% discount to all Chamber members who want to become part of the ERN. And so as we look at filling that second ERN, as we get companies interested, we will come out and do one-on-one visits, take a look at what some of those needs are so that we're able to prepare. And then once we have enough businesses ready to go, we will hire that second success coach and we will start working on site in those businesses as well. So that's some new and exciting stuff happening. So after, getting ready to finish up our 5th year, we're really excited about the direction with the success that we've also had with the local ERN. And we know that we line up with other ERNs in the network as far as growth and the pace that we're moving. So we're super excited about that. This is just a little bit of an overview of what the ERN consists of. Those member businesses are listed. We're approximately working with a little over 3,000 employees and students in this group. Barriers to employment are what we're working on. So we want to increase retention, and we were able to address those things removed by linking under-resourced employees and students to existing community resources. That's another just point that I would like to add there. We are really helping people just get connected with what's available here. And a lot of times, if you don't have the need, you don't know what's available. And so the coach is really great at knowing those things that are happening, and we are able to connect with things that are already going on in the community. And just by the way, Marion has a lot of amazing, amazing agencies, organizations that have lots of resources available to help people, again, work towards self-sufficiency. So there are just some things to help with those gaps that we referred to in the slide earlier. And once we can fill some of those gaps and have people really have a steady home life, they do better within the workforce as well. So you'll see some of the things here, 217, and again, these were figures from our 2018 performance indicators. 217 total employees had barriers removed to employment retention. 342 Success Coach community health worker referrals were addressed, and 585 total services delivered in the year. So that means those 217 employees were able to get connected to 585 different services or resources within our community, which is pretty incredible.
Heidi, I do want to mention that we just
Yes.
signed on Marion City Schools as well. So that number went to 6 businesses.
Went to 6.
And then that is an addition of a little over 700 additional employees that we will start serving in this network.
So it'll be over 4,000 employees with the addition of, and Marion City just started with us last Tuesday. So yeah, so I'll need to improve this slide as well. So lots
I don't want to leave that
stuff.
out. That was a good addition, so that people need to know that we're working with Marion City as well. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. And at Marion City, we are working with employees, not students. That was something that they wanted to bring us on to be able to work with, you know, their employees, because they see the need as well. Thank you for adding that, Natalie. And then just this final slide here, and I forgot to ask in the beginning what most of you would say your biggest asset was. Most of you say within your businesses, those employees are your assets. And so I like to leave with this quote that says, 95% of my assets drive out the gate every evening. It is my job to maintain a work environment that keeps those people coming back every morning. So the ERN is here to help you do just that. We are here working through some of those things that, you know, maybe your HR folks just don't have the time to do. Although HR becomes the best friend to our success coach, you know, where they're guiding us through the processes there on site. Our coach becomes very familiar with company culture, what your policies and procedures are, again, just to reinforce that when they're working with employees so that they become a more stabilized, stronger workforce for you. And so with that, I'll put some information up here. So as I mentioned, I am the executive director of Marion Matters, which is my first hat that I get to wear, which I've enjoyed doing for the last almost 8 years, which is really cool. But in 2018, once we had our network up and running for a little while, I decided that I would become one of the state leads for the state of Ohio. And so what that means is that I'm able to go into other communities and develop ERNs as well. So I kind of wear that hat, and I've been wearing that for just you know, 1.5 years now, and I enjoy doing that as well. I've been able to go out into some other communities and begin to see that work. So if anyone is interested after watching this, or you have more questions about ERN, my contact information is there, Heidi Jones, and you can email me and let me know if you have any questions, or you can give us a call. Our phone number, I'll just say that real quick, that way you've got it, 740-223-2999. That is the office number. So if you are interested or have any other questions, feel free to reach out. We would love to talk to you about possibly being a solution or an option for you to increase retention within your business.
Thank you very much, Heidi and Natalie. I do, yeah, you mentioned it briefly, the 10% We're about to, I think, announce that in the next, week or so. That'll go
Yeah.
out to everyone, but that is a member-to-member benefit that we're very happy to be able to partner with on that. And on the education, the fact that you folks are not just in businesses, but in the education institutions, I think is really cool and it's really neat to be the first in the state but the connection where we're trying to make, especially with our MAWAC, our Marion Area Workforce Acceleration Collaborative, to actively make sure our students are getting prepared for the workforce, to have the ERN, this tool in both places, really I think helps speak to, getting those students prepared, hopefully to have a position here with one of our local employers. So I thought that was really, really cool that we're helping to because that makes a lot of sense to me, to have those types of partnerships existing with an ERN program, both for adult education and for students education looking into the workforce. But then also, yeah, I've heard of a number of businesses that have gone through the ERN, from Silverline, for instance, that was mentioned in other presentations, that just glow about this program and are very excited to have it in their business. So just wanted to make sure we definitely had you folks in to talk about what's new and exciting with what the next steps are for the ERN program here in Marion County. Any other questions that you guys usually have or get from companies?
A lot of times they want to know the cost. And so I can share that cost with you. So anyone who would want a half share, which would be those employers that have maybe 100 to 300 employees, a half share is the 3 hours per week. And so that costs about $7,000 a year. And then we invoice that in quarterly installments. So it's not just, zap you with it one time, but most people, when they do their calculation on site to figure out what it costs for turnover, if our success coach keeps one full-time employee in place, they have covered most of their cost. And so we wanted to keep that as a low-cost resource. And when you're able to share by, buying shares of time, then you don't have to hire a social worker or someone that you're taking on now all of the benefits packages for. It's that share of time, that's your only cost, and then you get those add-on benefits. For those businesses who are, from any higher than 300, we look at your specific amount of employees and decide whether you need more than one share. One share gets you 6 hours a week on site. And again, the cost for that is $13,650. That is also going to be split up in quarterly installments. And so then we would start looking at anything over, the 500 or 600 employees. We start looking at possibly needing 2 full shares, depending on the need that we have. And you would get 10% off from that being a chamber member. So that's a great benefit to be able to share with that as well. Again, it gets that cost a little bit lower, and you're able to get some needs met that way.
Again, thank you. Any closing comments? I will say Natalie is awesome, and she does an amazing job there too. Any closing comments from Natalie?
Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. Really, the bottom line for me is really helping connect people to resources, and because their stability at your place of employment is extremely crucial to their success. So it is yours. This is an employer resource network, and so my job is to help you retain your employees. So in the business hat that I wear, that is extremely important. And then in my the passion aspect of helping people. And so being able to kind of flip that back and forth, I do feel like I balance well, and helping helping employers really meet those needs that you need on a business level, but being compassionate towards your employees to really help connect them and see them succeed as well. Is extremely important to the success of not only your business, but to them individually and to our community. So.
Excellent. Once again, thank you very much to both Heidi and Natalie for joining us today. And for those that are watching the recording afterwards, and for those that are able to join us here today in person, in person through Zoom. And again, this is our Manufacturers Council. We will be meeting again next month, the first Monday of that month. And hope everyone has a safe and productive rest of November, and we'll see you all next month. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.